This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
A possible shower this afternoon with the 3 o'clock news. I'm Michaela Kamarek. The family of the teenage girl killed by an out-of-control Lamborghini at Glengarry has walked out of court as the driver prepared to read an apology. Alexander Campbell pleaded guilty to driving without due care following the crash in 2019 that killed Sophia Naismith and severely injured her best friend. Campbell told the emptied court he struggles to convey how sorry he truly is, and he lives every day in a prison of his own creation knowing a family has lost a child. He'll be sentenced next month. The Ambulance Employees Association admits ramping is worse than ever despite the change in government. In June, ambulances were ramped for 3,838 hours compared to just over 1,500 in February prior to the election. But Leah Watkins from the union says the current government is actively addressing it.
It was never about an election campaign for us, and I would ask people to go back to our Facebook page and scroll back through to 2019. That was when we started publicising adverse patient outcomes. This was trying to put a voice to what our members were facing every single day.
Optus says a massive cyber attack on the telco could have been executed by a crime gang or even a foreign state. The hackers hid their tracks by shifting their online location markers across different European countries. Optus Chief Executive Kelly Bayer-Rose-Marone says they're working closely with government authorities and federal police.
There has been no ransomware demands made, and it is too early to rule out any possibilities. So we're keeping it all open, and it could be criminal, and it could be state-based actors.
COVID case numbers in SA have fallen to an average 433 a day in the past week. 50 people remain in hospital, including 6 in ICU. 23 more deaths have also been notified. 5 men have been charged as police work to dismantle a major drug syndicate operating across the country. They have uncovered more than $80 million worth of ice, firearms and $1.7 million in cash in an operation spanning New South Wales, Queensland and WA. Australia and China's foreign ministers have met on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Jonathan Kersley reports from New York.
For 40 minutes, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong met her Chinese counterpart in the second meeting between the pair since Australia's elections. The detention in China of Australian citizens Dr Yang Henjun and journalist Cheng Lei, as well as ongoing trade disputes between the two nations, were discussed, but it appeared there were no concrete developments, the minister describing it as a long road, and indicated Beijing was not backing away from its 14 grievances issued almost 2 years ago. Tomorrow, the foreign minister will address the United Nations before returning home to Australia.
At least 17 people have been killed as anti-government protests continue into a 7th day in Iran. Violence erupted after a 22-year-old woman was killed in police custody. Demonstrations have now spread to 80 cities and towns. Now turning to FIVEAA Sports, Sydney coach John Longmire has given a strong indication Sam Reid will play in tomorrow's grand final. The veteran key forward has been in doubt after being subbed out of last week's game with a groin injury. Longmire says Reid has passed fitness tests and should be fine to take his place in the team.
We felt that obviously when we subbed him out last week, we didn't push him too hard during the course of the game, so that was the first step, and he's got some scans on Monday and that was really encouraging. And so we were confident from that point. He did some training on Thursday, did exactly what he needed to do and felt really good from that. So, as we sit here now, he's ready to play.
Meantime, Geelong is refusing to confirm whether Max Holmes will play amid concerns over a hamstring complaint. The curtain will draw on Roger Federer's tennis career tomorrow morning when he takes to court at the Laver Cup in London. He'll team up with Rafael Nadal for Team Europe in a doubles match against Team World. Andy Murray says it will be a perfect farewell.
I don't think there's many better ways to go out than like this.
Maybe one thing I would like to add. I always felt, sitting here, it feels good that I go first from the guys.
Now checking FIVEAA traffic.
Roads are working pretty well today, no great hassle, simply some roadworks to keep in mind. At Dry Creek, you'll find urgent gas works there, Cavan Road near Kenworth Road causing a few delays. Upgrade works are continuing in the East Parklands, including Decatterville Terrace, Wakefield Road and Hutt Streets. Busy right now, Port Road at James Cogden Drive, and a few cameras for the drive home, including Rope Terrace, North Adelaide, and keep the eyes peeled for another one, Tapley's Hill Road at Glenelg North. Out and about, fill up with Shell V-Power 98, the premium fuel designed to deliver unbeatable protection for your engine. Fuel the feeling, details online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, a possible shower this afternoon, sunny and 18 tomorrow, Sunday showers in 22 and Monday a shower or two and 17. Right now it's 15 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News Tonight.
A Lamborghini driver labelled a psycho and pathetic by the family of a teenage girl killed in a horror smash. The new campaign to get tourists to SA for the Adelaide 500. A tearful apology from the Optus boss following the telco's massive data breach. The annoying habits of Adelaide motorists revealed, and how your diet could help you win the battle against a common cancer. I'm Brenton Braglis. See the full story on 9 News tonight at 6.
City Discount Tires.
For the best advice and price on tyres and mechanical, see City Discount Tyres. With local deals on the world's biggest and best brands in tyres, wheels, suspension and parts for four-wheel drive, SUVs and passenger cars. Finance available. Find your nearest dealer at citydiscounttires.com.au. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Here's why. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide today for a better future for all of us.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. Don't you hate it when things are out of your control, like electricity prices? They're skyrocketing, and if you've just received your winter power bill, you'll know exactly what I mean. With NRG Solar on your roof, combined with battery storage, you could zero out those power bills altogether. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today and take control of your power bills for good. That's nrgsolar.com.au or visit our interactive showroom at 406 South Road at Richmond.
Hi, Susanna Toop here. 30 days. That's the average time a rental property stays vacant. But at Toop & Toop, we find tenants in half the time, saving landlords an average of $860 a year. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? Toop.com.au.
$13.95, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Leith Forest.
Well, as we know, the AFL Grand Final is an iconic part of the Australian, the calendar. The MCG is an iconic venue. So you need an iconic group to perform at halftime in the grand final. I'm so delighted that Goanna and Shane Howard are performing halftime tomorrow at the 2022 AFL Grand Final. Shane Howard, lovely to have you on the show again. Congratulations.
G'day, Leith. How are you? Yeah, lovely to talk to you again.
You too.
It's pretty exciting. You don't often get to play. I can always tell my grandchildren, I played on the MCG on Grand Final day.
How good's
They'll
that?
say, what position did you play? Or
That's
did you
right.
play for us? Oh, a Goanna, yeah.
What, just incidentally, what position would you have played? Did you play footy as a kid?
Half-forward flank, probably.
Oh, nice,
something like that. As I got bigger, I moved to centre-half forward. But I like the half-forward flank, the Johnny Northey, the butterfly.
Yes.
The Shea Bolton, the slippery kind of position that's invisible.
Like it.
And you can always manage to sneak a goal when no one's looking.
Yeah. Well,
or take a specky, yeah.
You are the sneaky Norm Smith chance then. I reckon it's always the half forwards, the Paul Chapmans of the world, that the Travis Varcos of the Geelong era that sort of snuck down and kicked a couple, set a couple up, sort of did some work through the midfield. So, hey, I asked Katie Noonan. I asked Katie Noonan the same question, Shane. How did it come about to be asked? And how did you feel when all of a sudden you get the Plumbus gig in Australian sport?
BT Brian Taranto, who's the promoter for our Goanna tour, which is ongoing, it seems eternal this year, and it's been incredible. He's been a great champion. He was an old fan when he was a teenage boy, came to Goanna Manor back in the 80s, and apparently he wrote a letter to the band, and he replied, and it was the very first rehearsal we did. He came and he read both those letters out. So there's a lovely circularity to that relationship. And BT went in and fought very hard for us, and iconic song, iconic band, and it's going to play. So it's a really lovely honour, and to be joined as well by all those beautiful First Nations artists like William Barton, who I've known since he was a young kid, up in the Gulf country in North Queensland, and then Emma Donovan, who I worked with the Black Arm Band, incredible rising talent, a voice, a beautiful soul voice. Christine Anu, who lit up the world with her interpretation of My Island Home for the Sydney Olympics. And Tasman Keith, a young fellow, I didn't really know that well, but great rap poet. Beautiful, a beautiful wordsmith, actually. A lovely talent. So all those lovely elements coming together, as well as my sister Marcia, who was in the band with me, and my soul sister, my sister from another mother, Rose Bygrave.
Yeah.
Two very strong women, you know. So there's a very strong feminine presence, very strong Indigenous presence. I think that speaks volumes about the 21st century.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. You played so many iconic events. You're no stranger to a big crowd. Ever played in front of 100,000?
Well, I did do the grand final back in 2007, I think, but as part of a kind of a super group medley. But this is the first time Goanna's played to a crowd that big, I think. You know, played a lot of iconic events. We did do a massive show, I know, in the Sydney Myer Music Bowl back in 1983 to a similar kind of crowd. But this is being broadcast to millions of people. So it's an exceptional event, and it's an exceptional honour. I wish the Tigers were playing personally. Hey, we were robbed in Brisbane. I'll let that go. Almost. And it's a great honour. It's a great period. It's really beautiful to stand. Yesterday, when they did the media call, we were all presented with a Sharon football, and of course I have one sitting right here.
How good's that?
And actually in my hand that says Goanna on it.
Yeah. I saw that at the presser. You all got your names on the balls. How good is that?
Pretty cool. And what was even cooler is that then the country kid in me was out with a number of other of the guys from Timber Trap and the other musicians there, and a couple of strays that everyone wanted on the field, and we had kick to kick on the MCG.
Oh my Lord! Cool. How cool! Yeah. Hey, I tell you who you should have had in your kick to kick. I saw the vision last night. Delta Goodrum's got a good leg.
That was a pretty nice delivery,
wasn't it?
That was pretty impressive, and in high heels.
Yeah, well, her brother played at Central Districts here, so they probably kick to kick as kids growing up. It was very impressive. How long have you got, Shane? How many minutes are they allowing you to perform?
Well, for about 3 minutes tomorrow, we get to tell the country and the world beyond about the importance of that song, Solid Rock, Sacred Ground. Right. And we are standing on sacred ground. It was an old corroboree ground, the MCG, apparently. Lots of scar trees surrounding it still. And we get to advocate in that moment to remind everyone of the importance of that journey over 40 years of... we've come a long way in terms of our relationship with our First Nations people. We've got a long way to go. Yep. But we're in this era of healing. We're in this era of truth-telling. We're in this time of, it's very interesting with what the AFL are dealing with at the moment. It's, there's, this issue keeps coming up. Yep. And are we the land of a fair go? I think Australians are generally good-hearted and generous people. And I think once we understand the issue properly, and we've grown in depth of understanding over those 40 years, I think all of us agree that no one should be above us and no one should be below us. We should go as equals all together. Let's walk this track together. Let's make sure that Aboriginal people are given a seat at the table. Yep. And, because the prosperity we enjoy in this country came on the back of a lot of suffering and misery for Aboriginal people. I see that all the time in our travels with Goanna, even as we go in the country now, that, it takes, the hurt is real, the healing has to happen. We can get there as a good and decent people and a good nation and really give our Aboriginal brothers and sisters a seat at the table. You can't fix this overnight. It's a long journey. Let's walk it together. And why not in this country of ours, this great country of ours, why not be a beacon of hope and a beacon of light in a really troubled and confused world? Why not be that great, beacon in the world? We can do that. We can be that example to the world.
You're such a beloved group. It's such a beloved song. It's 100,000 people, Shane, at the MCG tomorrow singing your song back to you too. That's just got to give you the greatest feeling as a singer-songwriter.
It is amazing, to think that song has gone on to resonate so deeply into the Australian consciousness. And yeah, this whole tour that we're doing with Goanna right around the country has given us the opportunity. The motivation was to go back and to play that Spirit of Place album to our audiences and to say thank you for giving us a career and a life in music. What a privilege. So, you know, we're doing it for the true believers, the people who supported us along the way, and no pressure in front of 100,000 people tomorrow.
I wonder if it'll be, I wonder if Jack Rewalt style, there'll be another footballer who might just jump up on stage with you. You would have loved that as a Muso and a Tigers man. I mean, that was
Come on down, Jack. The stage is open and ready for you. Absolutely. What a champion, you know. And that incredible performance of the Killers, you know, of Mr. Brightside was just incredibly memorable. Hey?
Shane, it's such an honour, and no one more deserving than you, no one more deserving than Goanna. As you mentioned, the other First Nation performers who will be performing with you, we are so looking forward to tomorrow. So we'll get to see you on the TV, but again, November 19, we'll get to see you here in Adelaide because you're coming over for Harvest Rock.
We are coming back for Harvest Rock, which is going to be great. We were there for Womadelaide at the start of the year. It's actually how we began this tour in South Australia, and all the love that we got from that great South Australian audience, and we felt a lot of the feeling and the love for the old Goanna coming out of hibernation, and it really was the catalyst. It gave us a great lift and a great sense of encouragement about what we're attempting to do with this tour. So got a lot of lovely feel, a lot of love for Adelaide, and it's also the moment, you know, Leith, in 1981, before the album was ever recorded, we toured with James Taylor on his very first tour of Australia, and the last show of that tour was at the Festival Theatre in Adelaide, a very newly minted theatre.
Wow!
And when we performed Solid Rock at the end of our set with Billy Cummins, who on Didgeridoo, Cookie Allen, man from North Queensland, we got a standing ovation as the support act. And it was in that moment in Adelaide that I went, well, maybe our generation is ready for change.
Yeah.
And so I always love coming back to Adelaide. And I know John Sherman will be there for a bit of kick-to-kick as well.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to join that group. That would be a lot. Shane, couldn't be happier for you. Congratulations. Can't wait to see you tomorrow on the MCG.
On your leave. Thanks for taking the time.
The great Shane Howard, Goanna tomorrow, halftime entertainment at the AFL Grand Final. Great Shane Howard and Goanna performing at halftime tomorrow's AFL Grand Final. So Robbie Williams and Delta, Mike Brady's first up. So there'll be the Welcome to Country just after 1:25. This is Melbourne time. Mike Brady's first up, doing Up There Kazali. Then you'll have Robbie Williams and Delta Goodrum. Now, they believe that they will do Kids, the song that we know that Robbie did with Kylie Minogue, but also because Delta played the role of Olivia Newton-John in the Grease musical, there is some thought that maybe Robbie will play the part of John Travolta and Delta will do a tribute to ONJ, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Then the national anthem performed by Katie Noonan before the bounce. Again, we spoke to Katie earlier in the show. She's very excited about that. And then we'll get to hear Goanna and Shane Howard, part of the halftime entertainment. G-Flip and the Temper Trap, probably for the younger Geno. Goanna, Shane Howard, Christine Arnoux, Emma Donovan, Tasman Keith, Nairi, William Barton, and the Australian Girls Choir. So even if you don't really love the footy, plenty of entertainment for you tomorrow at the AFL Grand Final. And speaking of, it ties in nicely because David and Will's Grand Final Eve show, where they will stop down. They'll play all of their favourite footy and Grand Final tunes tonight. 7 to 10 p.m. They will be playing 3 hours of music, plenty of stories, and it's all thanks to Clarity Records, your fully independent record store serving the local music community for over 12 years. Clarity Records, 60 Pulteney Street in the city. So if you want to get just your fix, your music and your footy together, you can do so from 7 tonight with our own David and Will. 21 after 3 now.
It's Grand Final week and we're turning back the clock to celebrate the greatest AFL Grand Final wins, 97 and 98.
You forgot one there, Rowey. It's got to be the greatest AFL Grand Final, 04.
Wasn't 07, was it?
No, certainly not. What about 2017?
Join us all week as we remember the best and the worst Grand Final appearances for the Crows and Power as we decide the best win ever.
Losing sleep over snoring? Well, I'm not. The wife is. Getting match fit starts with a CPAP direct sleep test, cpap.com.au.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles' famous Grand Final Spend and Save continues today, tomorrow and Sunday. Yes, National Tiles' famous Grand Final Spend and Save continues today, tomorrow and Sunday. Spend $4,000 and we'll only charge you $2,750. Or spend $2,000 and we'll only charge you $1,450. Do not, absolutely do not miss the unbeatable National Tiles Spend and Save. Rush into National Tiles now and save.
Do you still love your car? Why not take it to Edwardstown Mazda to see what it's really worth? It's the safest and easiest way to move your car on and get into a new or used Mazda. 862 South Road, Edwardstown.
Nothing beats a road trip. For those who are heading out on the road to explore our own backyard, here's a travel tip from RAA's Mark Borlace. Hi, Mark.
Hi, David. It's important to remember that a small fix now might save you a lot of bother down the road. Get your car checked before you go at one of the 450 independent RAA-approved repairers.
And what about electric vehicles? We're seeing more and more of them on the roads.
RAA is leading the charge with EV innovations. For over 100 years, RAA has kept South Australians moving on. South Australian motorists can expect the same high level of service from our road service fleet, and they're training their team in EV to continue to provide peace of mind in the future.
Thanks, Mark. Whether you've upgraded to an EV or you're cruising in your current vehicle, before you head out on your next road trip to do the fun stuff, let RAA take care of the car stuff. Search RAA Motor for more. RAA-approved repairers are independent service providers, not agents of RAA. Terms and conditions apply. Available from RAA.
The blockbuster movies are back on the big screen at your local Wallace Cinema. There's always something for the kids young and old, friends, families and grandparents. Prepare to laugh, be scared, be transported to another time, be amazed, be enthralled, and most of all, be entertained. So many movies you'll want to come back again and again. Support your local SA-owned cinema partnering with other SA businesses. Visit our website for what's on and tickets or download the Wallace app, wallace.com.au.
When shopping around for hearing aids, the main sound you'll hear is... But not at Specsavers, where you don't have to pay top dollar for top-of-the-range hearing aids. Just book a free 15-minute hearing check at specsavers.com.au/hearing. Then maybe you could use those savings to hear something more pleasant like... Should have gone to Specsavers. Conditions apply.
Here at FIVEAA, we're all about supporting local.
For a memorable function, all you need to do is head to Jarmas, ask for Chris, and let him show you their incredible facilities. Take a look at jarmaskitchen.com.au or check Facebook and Instagram.
Leith Forest on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
24 minutes after 3, we'll catch up with Tim Ginniver in just 1 second. Find out what's on the big show after 4 o'clock. Rowey's in Melbourne ahead of tomorrow's AFL Grand Final. Before we get to some messages, we have a double pass to give away. Sister Elizabeth, great show starring Libby O'Donovan. If you'd like to see Libby, one of our great performers here in this state, got a double pass to give away. It's on Friday, the 30th of September at Her Majesty's Theatre, so a week from today. If you'd like to go and see Sister Elizabeth, first caller through, 8223 0055. Thank you, Andrea, for your message. Great interview. Wonderful to hear Shane speak, especially hearing him supporting our Indigenous people. I was fortunate to see them at Womadelaide this year, Goanna. They were so brilliant. Thank you for that, Andrea. I love Shane and I love Goanna, and it's great to see supporting the First Nation performers there tomorrow. This one says, I have not gambled for 125 days. That's from Louis at Ascot Park. Well done, Louis. Again, we say this, gamble responsibly, leave before you lose it. And I know when I spoke to Sportsbet earlier today, there are some novelties and some prop bets that you can do. Again, it's a little bit of fun if you want to, but you don't have to put money on to enjoy it. I will be watching it tomorrow, having not put a cent on, but still enjoying to see if Jacinta Franklin gets on, to see if our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is wearing any kind of South Sydney gear, what colour tie James Brayshaw is wearing, what the temperature might be. You can enjoy without having a flutter, but if you do like to do that, you're welcome to do that. But well done, Louis, on yours. Sue from Christie's Beach heard the traffic too refer to Salisbury. Found my thrills on Salisbury Hill. And Luke, so I ran a poll a little earlier, took some calls on this. You know that phrase, the biggest day in Australian sport? What is it? So we're running a poll on our Twitter account as we speak. What is the biggest day in Australian sport? Right now, the AFL Grand Final is clearly winning, 69%. Boxing Day Test, day one at 13%. The Melbourne Cup at 9%, others at 9%. This one from Luke, who says Bathurst, the Sunday of Bathurst is the biggest sporting day on the Australian calendar. You're welcome to have your say before a wrap-up at 4 o'clock, 8223 0000. But on the other side, in this grand final week, we are going for a blast from the past. So I'm going to take you back 40 years after the news. And don't worry, I've cleared this with the boss. I made sure that this was all good to do before we did. 40 years ago at the MCG in 1982, there was a streaker, a very well-known streaker by the name of Helen D'Amico. I would argue our most famous streaker. She was from Adelaide 40 years ago, ran onto the MCG and created all sorts of confusion and chaos. You'll hear from Helen D'Amico after the news.
Saturday mornings from 9. Join KG and Cornsey for the Saturday Sports Show.
Hello, Yvonne.
For 2 generations now, my family have worked with First Nations people, and so as a whole, as a family, we're very sympathetic. But it doesn't give that girl the excuse. I mean, how would you feel if someone said about you, "Black dog, I'm glad they're dead"?
Saturday mornings from 9.
It's beyond the pale.
SSA as KG and Cornsey. SSA as AA.
Feeling the burn? Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys.
Cheapest Chips.
Pepsi and Schweppes 1.25 litre soft drinks, any 2 for $4. Vanish Plus or Pink 1 kilo stain remover, only $5.49. Assorted roll-on deodorants, any 2 for $5. And assorted 300 to 500 gram nuts in Paradise bags, only $6.29. Check out this week's catalogue for more Hot Buys in store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys now.
Moving into a retirement village can be a big adjustment, and buying a unit can be prohibitive. So here's an alternative: renting. At Riverbank Village in the heart of Mount Barker, they offer quality rental accommodation for seniors. That's right, rental accommodation. No entry or exit fees and no hidden costs. Just one fortnightly payment, which includes 3 meals daily, weekly linen service, reverse cycle aircon and social club. Secure, safe, friendly and close to shops. To find out more, go to riverbankvillage.com.au or call 8391 0449.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand, with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota forklift advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
The early bird deadline in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is midnight tonight. It's your last chance to get your tickets if you want to be one of 4 early bird winners pocketing $250,000 each. Pay off your mortgage, buy a new car, or invest it. The choice is yours. It could be you, so join the fight and get your tickets by midnight tonight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
Garden Grove is celebrating 40 years of supplying the garden that you want. Thanks to our customers for your continued support. With over 10 acres, Garden Grove has everything you need, from gifts to compost and everything in between to make gardens thrive. Relax at the cafe, be inspired by the nursery and chat to our qualified horticulturalists to make it happen.
Garden Grove, the garden that I want.
Visit gardengrove.com.au.
Your air conditioning system has been heating and cooling the family home for years. But as the family has grown and kids have left the nest, Do you really want to crank up the AC for the whole house? Polar Air Heating and Cooling can reassess your needs and downsize your energy bills with modified ducting or a split system. Book an AC assessment today and keep your lair bearable with Polar Air Heating and Cooling. polarairhc.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, I'm Michaela Kamarek. The family of a teenage girl killed by an out-of-control Lamborghini at Glengarry has walked out of court as the driver prepared to read an apology. 5 men have been charged as police work to dismantle a major drug syndicate operating across the country. China is being urged to exert its influence with Russian President Vladimir Putin to stop his invasion of Ukraine. And Sydney coach John Longmire has given a strong indication Sam Reid will play in tomorrow's grand final. Showers this afternoon, currently it's 15 degrees. More news at 4 o'clock and as it happens on 5AA.
Leith Forest, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
.29 to 4, Sports Show coming up from 4 o'clock. Stephen Rose in Melbourne. Tim Ginniver is in Highmarsh Square.
Yes, by popular demand.
Is there anyone working on this Friday, or are they just having a 4-day week? Now, Rowey, we should say, is working because he and Sam and our boss Craig are all over in Melbourne. We've got clients there, we've got listeners there, just soaking up the atmosphere of the grand final.
Absolutely, which is fantastic, and it's great. We'll get that that feeling and that atmosphere off of those guys who are actually in Melbourne as we speak. But the grand final itself, it's shaping up to be a good one, I think. I know a lot of people are leaning towards Geelong and saying, they've been the best team all year. They've won 15 in a row. But I reckon I can mount a case for Sydney. And I'm going to do that with Stephen tonight.
Yes.
I think he's going to go Geelong, so I'm definitely going to have to go Sydney. And I'm going to mount the case as to why.
Looking forward to that. Your old teammate at the Magpies, Nathan Buckley's on the show tonight because he's presenting the Norm Smith Medal.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that was he won one when the team lost in 02. So he was clearly the best man on the ground, and he won it, and he took it off immediately. And I've sort of felt almost the same way. And I know there was a lot of people said, showed disrespect to the medal or whatever, but you haven't won. It's almost a consolation prize that you just... it's a hard one. I'd love to, and we'll ask him, in retrospect, how do you feel about winning it?
Yeah.
Now we're 20 years down the track.
I heard one of the players talk about it. They put their medal on one of their teammates who didn't play, and they took it off straight away. They're just like, no, we don't feel involved. Yes, we've been part of the system, and you think of Logan McDonald in this situation for the Sydney Swans. Should they get up, he's going to miss out. He doesn't want a medal.
Well, you're crazy on the American sport. They give everybody a ring.
They do.
Everybody that's on the roster gets a ring. Now, in Australian rules football, would probably be anybody that played one game that year would get a medal. And that's been argued a lot. How they feel about that medal would be up to the individual. I know personally, I'd go, I didn't play.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's our brutal world of our sport too, is it's not like EPL where you finish top, you're the champions. It is a final series where you have to win do or die games.
You might be a punter or a kicker who gets on 3 times during the Super Bowl. You get the ring.
Yeah,
I'll take that. But you might be the fill-in, the number 2 and the number 3. You also get a ring. It is very different. And Robbo from 5 will be interesting tonight because the AFL's walking a very delicate tightrope at the moment. How do you celebrate the pinnacle of our game, and how do you also deal with the issues coming out of Hawthorn?
Yeah, you have to deal with them separately. It's as simple as that, and make sure that all due care and respect is done in that channel while you go down the path. The AFL Grand Final is still going ahead, so you need to put all the time and energy into that as well. Post the Grand Final, there's going to be a lot of focus on it, and Robbo has been pretty strong. He said, look, if any of these allegations are proven true, then it's untenable that either guy can continue as coaches. So we'll ask him that again tonight and just see if he's got any more to add since last night.
Be interesting to see what Gil McLaughlin does. Does he walk out without this unresolved, or does he stay around and say, I'll see this to the end and then I'm gone?
He's making some noises in that area, so we'll hear from him tonight. He had a press conference, and pretty much in that vein is, do I continue on? So It'll be an interesting pathway should he continue on past his due date.
You're a footballer who's good at music, or you're a muso who was good at footy? Quick one before we let you go. You're happy with Robbie Williams? You're looking forward to Robbie in Delta tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've got the entertainment pretty well nailed. Crossing all demos, I think they've done pretty well. The list is certainly far better than some that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I'm waiting for you to just get the invite.
I'm looking for Grand Vinyl Eve as well. Hopefully I can just sneak a couple of tunes in.
Oh, you're on tonight,
well,
yes.
I'd like to. Yeah.
7 to 10, David and Will.
Put my hand up for Grand Vinyl Eve. Don't worry about that.
Listening for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, stay here just in case we get a call. Now, I did clear this with the boss, but after the break, Helen D'Amico, you'd remember Helen D'Amico.
1982. Remember it well.
Helen D'Amico's on the show. The streaker from the 1982 Grand Final, 107,000 at the MCG.
Back when it used to be fashionable.
Yeah. Fair to say, the most famous streaker in Australian history?
I think she would be.
Don't know too many other streakers' names.
No. You're right.
So just in case my phone calls and the boss changes his mind, stay with us. Helen D'Amico, next.
Buying, selling, leasing, renting. When it comes to real estate, the right advice can save you thousands. Every Wednesday afternoon from 2 o'clock, the expert team from Toop and Toop join me for Real Estate Radio. We'll get the right advice from Adelaide's most awarded real estate firm, and for some individual advice, you can call the Real Estate Lounge after the show from 3. So join me, Jade Robrin, and the expert team from Toop and Toop every Wednesday afternoon from 2 on 1395 Adelaide's 5AA.
Hey, it's Callum here. Looking for something small, medium or large? Edwardstown Mazda have most models in stock, ready to drive away. You can feel confident in the team at Edwardstown Mazda.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au, LNVD 207428.
Do you want fresh filtered water flowing through your home? Choose a system by Complete Home Filtration. Joining me from Complete Home Filtration is Suzanne Dodds, who incidentally won the Telstra 2022 Business Awards. So what's the benefits of filtered water, Suzanne?
Well, the benefits of filtering water for the whole home mean that you don't just enjoy filtered water for drinking, but for showering and bathing as well. So people see big differences in softer skin, softer hair, unlimited bottled water, quality water from every tap.
That sounds great. So where can we purchase one?
You can just jump online and go to completehomefiltration.com.au.
That's completehomefiltration.com.au.
Taste, feel, see the difference.
This is the sound of the future of motoring. Quiet, isn't it? That's because the future is electric. For over 100 years, RAA has been there to keep you moving. And in the future, SA motorists can expect a comprehensive statewide charging network and a team of independent RAA-approved repairers that are EV ready. RAA, leading the electric vehicle charge in SA now and into the future. Learn more at raa.com.au. RAA-approved repairers are independent service providers, not agents of RAA.
Everyone at the back, please. Sitting quietly, please. In a circle, thank you. Today we're going to talk about what we'd like to be when we grow up.
A police girl.
Race car driver.
I want to be a gymnast. I want to be a concreter. With Adelaide Exposed Concrete.
I want to be a concreter too.
Me too.
AdelaideExposedConcrete.com.au. Best on ground all year round.
What's a concreter?
G'day, it's Merv Hughes here. After years of snoring like a train, the missus sent me for a CPAP Direct sleep test. I'm sleeping quiet and waking up refreshed.
If snoring is an issue in your relationship, call CPAP Direct to find out about a CPAP sleep test. It's the first step in rediscovering your mojo, and the other half will love you for it.
Find your local store at cpap.com.au.
Lawless, the White Ant People. Yes, Lawless are still the White Ant People, celebrating over 80 years in pest control. For termite and other pest problems, call Lawless today on 8443 9636 or online at lawlerpestcontrol.com.au for really good information on all pests. Call Lawless, the people you can trust, on 8443 9636 for a free survey and quote. That's 8443 9636.
Lawless, the White Ant People.
If you know somebody who is having issues with alcohol or drugs, free help is available. Family Drug Support is there to listen and help you cope. Our experienced team have been offering quality support for over 20 years. For more, call Family Drug Support 24/7 on 1300 368 186. That's 1300 368 186.
$13.95. Adelaide's 5AA. This is Leith Forest.
So 1982 was a very memorable year. 40 years ago this year, Carlton won their second consecutive premiership. It was the club's 14th premiership, and there were 107,500 fans at the MCG. We also happened to witness the most famous streaker in the history of Australian sport. You remember the moment, you remember the name. Helen D'Amico, lovely to speak to you, Helen.
Hi, how you going?
I'm very well. I remember the moment. I was 6 years of age. Let's walk it back from your perspective. How did this all come about? You were 17 at the time, Helen.
Yes, I was.
What made you want to streak on the MCG in front of over 100,000 people?
Well, now that it's gotten on age-wise, I can talk about it a little bit more honestly. It was actually a bit of a setup. So it was actually a publicity stunt.
Okay.
So when I got there and they said, because I was working in a nightclub and they had said, would you like to go and streak a football match? And as far as I was quite young, 17, so I just assumed it was a football match that my brothers used to play.
Yep.
So when I got there and saw the crowd, it was a little bit more popular than I thought. They didn't mention to me that it was the first worldwide televised.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I got there, it was a little bit of a shock, and I had just a jacket, a pair of thongs on, and it was absolutely boring. So the first thing, my thing was I saw the scarves that were being sold. So I picked the Carlton because it's blue and white, nice colour. So I thought, that'll match my jacket. So then when I got up on the field, and I was only allowed to tell one person. And when I saw the crowd, I actually rang my mum and went, Mum, have you seen the crowd? She said, I'm sitting here with Auntie Loris and we've got our cups of tea and scones. And we're just waiting.
Oh, my Lord. Can I go back a second? So you were from the US. You worked at the Crazy Horse here in Adelaide. Who drove you to the ground? I heard a story that your grandparents drove you to the grand final.
Oh, goodness, no, my grandparents, great part.
Okay.
A choreographer from where I was working.
Okay.
Because the place where I was working was a replica of the London Crazy Horse.
Yes, correct.
Quite a flash, nice place to be working.
Correct. Still here in Adelaide now, still on Hindley Street, the Crazy Horse. So the logistics of that, you mentioned that you're cold, so you're wearing, so you had just the coat and your thongs and that was it?
Yeah.
And you walked into the MCG like that?
Yeah. It was a nice coat.
Oh, it was a lovely coat. I was just thinking, because I was wondering the logistics. Do you get changed somewhere and then walk back to your seat? But you were ready to go. So why
I was ready to go.
Why?
Ready to go.
Wow. Why did you decide at that point in the game to run on then? Or was it just a matter of,
Well, it was actually quite a weird experience because I had to get up the front to be able to get close enough to get over the fence.
Yep.
So firstly, I rang my mum for a little bit of words of encouragement, which my mum was just a lovely lady. She was like, we're sitting here waiting for bronze and off you go. So I managed to tell the police officer I was sitting up front, so I needed to get up there. And they were quite happy to sit me in the front row. So I got a pamphlet, and I was reading this pamphlet, but I was saying to myself, I've got to do this. They're waiting. And I was a bit nervous. All of a sudden, I got up, got over the fence, and ran out into the field, but I hadn't actually done that yet. My mind had done it. It was like my first out-of-body, do you know what I mean? Like I saw myself did it, and then all of a sudden I flipped over the fence, landed flat on my carpet, and got up and just ran. And it was all planned to a T, except what do I do when I get out into the middle of the field?
Yeah.
I'm out in the middle of the field running around with the scarf going, now, how do I get off?
Now what do you do? Because that's the thing. You chased after Bruce Dool. Bruce didn't know what to do. Wayne Johnson didn't. Wayne Johnson didn't like your presence. He was trying to get you off. I wondered that because
he was ropeable.
The adrenaline would have been
Absolutely.
rushing through your body when you're in front of 107,000 people in the nude, 17 years of age, millions watching at home. And I wonder what your plan was once you got out there. What were you going to do?
We didn't have one. So I thought, all right, I'll try and get staff over one of the players.
Yep.
And I headed for Bristol, seriously, because he did. He looked a lot like my father, and he just had that comforting. So I ran straight for him, but was it Shane Johnson, was it?
Wayne Johnson?
Yeah, he had other ideas. So he intercepted and grabbed me, and all I could think at that moment, if you see the footage, was please don't fall over.
Yeah.
You know, so that just was not the plan.
What happened when they took you off the ground? Did you get fined? Were you taken back to a police station?
Yeah, well, they took me underground, but they had a special bunker for people that are naughty.
Okay.
So they put me in there with my jacket on and let me watch the game. And, of course, most of the policemen stayed downstairs with me and we were chatting away. And then I had to leave that afternoon and I got VIP back to where I was staying and I had to appear in court the next day.
Wow.
And the choreographer's mother woke us up. She couldn't speak a word of English. And there's like 15 reporters all on the front lawn.
Yep.
Like I had no idea it was going to be that huge. And as a child, I'd always been a little bit of an attention seeker. So I didn't even think of that. And then when it did happen, it just happened so fast that it just blew me away. I had to get VIP'd off the airport back in Adelaide to get back to where I was living. So I had to stay at a hotel room hiding out for 2 weeks. And then it just went crazy. And then it got to my head a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm a very down-to-earth, natural kind of person. I don't... the only way I can say it is I'm not really up myself.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But to go through that kind of publicity, you really have to be a little bit. And it actually got to my head. I started sort of thinking I was a little bit all that. Once that started, I was off. I sort of disappeared to Perth for a while and tried to let it die down a bit. But it followed me everywhere. My children saw it on a Just James ad at school. Came home and said, Mum, we saw your bum on the TV.
I do want to talk about the fallout if we can in a second. Can I just wind back 1 second because you said something? Yeah. So they let you watch the rest of the game?
Oh, yeah.
Downstairs?
Yeah, I sat down and had a beer and, had a chat. Treated me very well.
$1,000 fine, which was a lot of money back in a lot of money now. It's a lot of money back in 1982. Did the Crazy Horse pay that fine or did you have to pay that fine?
No, they were supposed to. But because after a couple of weeks I was so exhausted and they were working and I was working so hard and I started getting a little bit sick. So I went to go to my brother's wedding for a little while and then it just got to my head.
Yeah,
it just
sure.
really did. And I just couldn't deal. I just couldn't do. My name was now Miss VFL. There was no Helen D'Amico left. So, so I disappeared and had a bit of a family and then every now and again they bring it up and I kind of sort of think, well, why not?
Well, I do want to talk about that because it is 40 years of this momentous occasion in VFL football. And as I say, you're arguably the most famous streaker in the history. You and maybe the guy that Andrew Simons barreled in the cricket. But so your life does become crazy after that. What was the plan? So that was the plan that you would go out and then the Crazy Horse would get some kind of publicity from it? Or because it all sort of fell on you, didn't it, towards or post-game?
Yeah, and then it was all a case of like we'll all work at the Crazy Horse and make heaps of money out of it. But I was just the hours I was working was phenomenal. I was just working with death, and I just couldn't do it. So I left and went to Perth for a little while, and hopefully let it die down. And then I went to do my uni in Townsville. They found me there.
Yep.
They seemed to sort of chase me around a bit.
I was going to ask that because you did. You kind of went into hiding or you had some anonymity for many, many years there. We did see a couple of appearances. I remember you appeared on the Footy Show and then we saw the commercial where, they reenacted that too.
That was the bomb. That was so cool.
You mentioned your kids and the grandkids. Do they understand mums and grandmas 15 seconds of fame or is it something that is not brought up now?
No, they love it. They seem a little bit more proud of it than I am. And every now and again it pops up where we'll be at a party and someone will know me and then takes over the whole party and everybody's talking about me and so it does sometimes annoy me. It is getting a little. I'm 57 now, so.
Yep. You know, we love it from a football point of view, but in the grand scheme of pop culture, it's one of the most infamous moments in Australian sport ever, and that was you at 17 years of age. Oh, my God, I can't believe you walked into the MCG wearing nothing but a coat and a pair of thongs and then thought, I'll grab a blue scarf on the way in. So you weren't even a Carlton supporter either. You just grabbed the first scarf you saw.
Yeah, it was the prettiest. But if you're going to get realistic about it all, okay, Richmond never won a grand final.
Exactly.
A lot of years.
Yeah.
And then I burnt the scarf and they won the next grand final.
That's right. You're on the winners.
So if I couldn't have made amends any better.
Helen, thank you so much for speaking to me. It is a famous moment. It is an infamous moment.
That's the one.
Really appreciate your time. It's 40 years. I mean, can you believe that? 4 decades.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I don't look much different except a little bit older.
And no regrets? You certainly don't regret it as a 17-year-old?
No. There are times when I sort of get a little bit sort of queasy when it's brought up, but then after a while you've got to laugh at it. What can you do?
You do.
Yeah.
Helen, thanks so much. Lovely to speak and take care.
Thanks for having me.
All the very best.
Cheers.
Helen D'Amico, my guest, the famous and infamous streaker in 1982.
Female streaker. Goodness me. Oh, God. I'll go along with that.
Well, that's enough to turn you off your football. Look at James. He doesn't know what to do.
I'm speechless. Oh, Johnson. I wouldn't like to wonder what his wife would have to say about that.
Well, she certainly disrupted everything here at the moment after Carlton have hit the front by a point. And that's to make any side lose their concentration, Bob, wouldn't they?
I wonder if I can have a word to our director, Ralph Potter. Could we see that in the replay, Alf?
The crowd's still going. No one seems to be watching the match.
1982. There he is, Lou Richards, Peter Landy, Bob Skilton, and Helen D'Amico.
Early evenings with John Blake.
When you lose your sense of taste when you have a cold, you don't lose all your sense of taste. You still taste salt and sweet. Some of it goes through the back door, which is part of your smell. And that's why, listen, you people are disgusting. I'm sitting here being the clean one, and you women...
Weeknights from 7.
I bet you laugh at Backstairs Passage too.
Well, I wouldn't accept that you just said it.
Let's go fishing in Backstairs Passage.
Early evenings with Blakey on 5AA.
Did you know that after his passing, music legend David Bowie requested a direct cremation with no service or celebration or family in attendance? For a farewell without all the fanfare, talk to simplicityfunerals.com.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. As a professional driver, safety is my highest priority. That's why I'm a proud ambassador for the Australian Road Safety Foundation. September marks Rural Road Safety Month. Now, it's a national initiative to highlight the horrific stat that 2 out of 3 fatalities occur on our roads happen either in rural or regional areas. We're calling on you to choose road safety every time you're behind the wheel. I choose road safety for every single road user. Who do you choose it for?
Doesn't matter what level you're at, Drummond Golf can improve your game. I've got Shane from Drummond Golf with me. Now, Shane, help us out here. What's the quickest way to improve our game?
Thanks, Rowey. I know this might sound a bit strange, but how often do you get your car serviced?
Oh, once every 6 months.
So why not get your game regularly serviced with either a lesson at the range or utilise one of our ultimate training aids? The 2 best training aids we have is the Orange Whip Tempo Trainer and the Swing Guide. The Swing Guide is by far the best training tool tool that attaches to your golf club and keeps you on plane.
And of course, the expert advice to help you get the most out of your game.
That's why we're here, Rowey.
So see Shane and the team at Drummond Golf, absolute legends at Enfield, Darlington, Mile End, Tea Tree Gully and West Beach Driving Range.
Team, everybody's talking about Team.
And everybody's talking about Team Kia for immediate delivery on selected Kia vehicles. Team Kia at Cheltenham has secured limited Kia vehicles that can be delivered today. Call 8300 and ask for Matt Broadbent to secure your new Kia today and enjoy the ever-reliable 7-year warranty. And that's why everybody's talking about Team Kia, for it's their uncanny ability to secure Kia vehicles for immediate delivery.
MVD 182170.
Don't just send it.
It's not just your deliveries that ASIC Couriers look after. They're also proud supporters of the community. Chris, tell us more.
That's right, Rowey. At ASIC Couriers, we're proud supporters of over 16 sporting clubs. We also work with and support the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation to strive for a happy and positive workplace. By supporting us, you're also supporting the community.
Don't just send it.
Do you want